Hello team, welcome back. Welcome to Nginx training, and in this lecture we will set up a simple load balancer with the help of the Nginx. Before going with the lab, let's see what we are trying to achieve in this lab. So over here we will keep the two application servers and then we will keep the one Nginx as a load balancer. User will send the request to the Nginx and then Nginx will send the request to the application server. Here my first application server will be my Brownie site. For the second application server, I will spin up a new machine which will serve a HTML page, which is a static page. And for the Nginx, I will spin up a third machine which will work Nginx as a load balancer. So in this lab, in the load balancer lab, we are going to use three machines. One for the Brownie site, which is already running, and we will spin up two more machines, one for the HTML page and another one for the Nginx as a load balancer. So let's go to the DigitalOcean and spin up two more machines in your DigitalOcean account. So here we are on DigitalOcean and we are already running one machine Ubuntu custom Nginx. I will create two more Ubuntu machines. So I'm going to create the Ubuntu 18.4 machine with the basic plan of $5 per month. And I will name my machine Ubuntu second app server. Click on create. Similarly, I will create one more machine for the load balancer. And I will name my machine Ubuntu load balancer. I will create one more droplet over here. We can see my all three machines are running. I will log in all three machines in separate terminals. So over here I have opened all three machines in the separate terminals. Over here in the black terminal I am logged in on a Ubuntu custom Nginx, which is the machine we are using since starting of this particular course. In the second terminal, here on the green window I have logged in Ubuntu second app server, and here on the white background I have logged in Ubuntu load balancer. So these are three machines which we are going to use. First, let's go to the custom Nginx and let's see if Nginx process is running. So we can see Nginx is running. So let's try to access my website on this particular Nginx. So I will execute ifconfig. Here is the IP. In my browser, I will hit this IP and it is not loading my site. It means we have done some changes in the configuration in recent lab. So we need to modify the configuration to reach my Brownie site. So first we will go to the configuration file etc nginx, and over here we will see we have the configuration file nginx.conf, right? So we will open this configuration file in the vi mode, nginx.conf, and I will make it simple to remove all the unnecessary configuration from here. So I have made it more simple. I'm just using the user, worker, events, then mime types, and in the server I'm using my server name, then root, then location. I will save this, check the configuration nginx-t, configuration is okay, reload the nginx, hit enter. Reload is done. We will go back to the browser, paste it here, hit enter, and we can see Brownie site is working perfectly fine. Right, now what I will do, I will go to the terminal back, and on both of my other machines I will install the nginx. So sudo apt-get update, execute the same command on white terminal as a load balancer, clear out the console, and now we will install the nginx. So apt-get install nginx, hit enter. It will install the nginx. It will ask for the confirmation. Install the nginx on the green terminal as well, hit enter, provide the confirmation, and let's wait until the nginx will be started. Over here nginx is done. Clear out the console, check if nginx is running, ps-ef, grep nginx. Nginx is running on this machine, on the load balancer machine. Nginx installed over here as well. Execute the same command, ps-ef grep nginx, and nginx is running over here as well. Now what we will do, one application is running over here which is the Brownie. Over here we have also started the nginx. Let's try to access the nginx on this machine which have the IP 167.172.161.192. I will put ifconfig. This is my IP. This is my IP. Go to the browser and open this IP over here. See, we are getting the nginx web page. Now we have the two sites, right? We have the two application server. One is executing the Brownie site which have the IP ending with 130, and another executing the default NGNX which have the IP ending with 192. Right? We have spinned up the third server as well. the load balancer. And now what we will do, we will edit the configuration of my third server so that we can execute the Nginx as a load balancer. So let's go to the terminal, and now we are on the third terminal, and now we are on the third node, which is Ubuntu load balancer, right? This node is also executing the Nginx, but over here we will configure the Nginx as a load balancer. For this, we will go to the configuration file, vi etc nginx, nginx.conf. So over here we have the default nginx.configuration file. I will edit this file and only keep the relevant content, remove the all unnecessary content from this file. So over here you can see I have removed all the unnecessary content from this file. I just keep the user, worker, process, PID, include, module, enable, events, and HTTP. Inside the HTTP context, I have just using the MIME type to support the Brownie site and access and error log definition. As this is not the handcrafted Nginx, so I'm defining the log location inside the HTTP context. Now to make this Nginx as a load balancer, we need to add few more context over here. And the first context which we need to add is inside the HTTP context. And inside the HTTP context, first we need to add a context called upstream. So upstream is the context which will help Nginx to work as a load balancer service. After the upstream context, we need to define the name of my upstream. So you can define any name. Suppose I'm defining app server. Open and close the upstream. And inside the upstream, you need to define the application server on which you want to redirect the traffic. For this, you need to use the directive server, and the value of this directive, you need to provide the IP address of your application server or the domain name of your application servers. So I will provide the IP of my application server. This is the first application server which is running the Brownie site. Put semicolon, define the server again. And this is the IP of my second application server which is running the default Nginx. I will put the IP over here, right, and close this. So I have defined the upstream. Upstream context is the child of the HTTP context. Now, how we can work with the upstream, right? To work with the upstream, we need to define one more child of the HTTP and sibling of the upstream, which is called servers. We need to open and close the server, and inside the server, we need to define the location. Suppose I'm defining the base location, I will open and close this as well. And inside the location, I need to define the directive called proxy pass. So proxy pass directive we have already discussed in the previous lecture, which will help us to redirect the traffic. And as a value of the proxy pass, you need to define the protocol like HTTP, because in my case, I'm listening the traffic on the HTTP, and my upstream name. This is my upstream name. So this is my upstream. I will copy it and paste it here. Close this. So this is going to be the configuration file of your Nginx as a load balancer, right? By this particular configuration, I'm defining upstream. If you want, you can define the multiple upstream as well, right? And inside my upstream, I'm defining my application servers, right? Then I'm defining the server block, and inside the server, I'm defining the location, and inside the location, I'm defining the proxy pass and defining the upstream as a proxy pass. Let's save this. Verify your Nginx service as nginx-t. You can see the syntax is okay. And now you need to restart your Nginx. So I will execute sudo service restart Nginx. Hit enter. Actually the order should be like this: sudo service nginx restart. Hit enter, and Nginx service restarted. Now let's identify the IP address of this machine, and this is the IP address of my load balancer. I will copy this IP address. Now to avoid the browser cache issue, what we will do, we will execute a curl http and define the IP of my load balancer. Hit enter, and you can see I am getting the content of my Nginx. Let's hit the same again, and this time you can see I'm getting the different content, and this content is basically belong to my Brownie site. See, this is the content of my Brownie site. So every time I will hit the curl again and again. This time I'm getting the Nginx, and this time I will again get the Brownie. This time I will again get the Nginx. This time I will again get the Brownie. Every time you will hit this particular request, load balancer will redirect the request in the round robin fashion. Why the Nginx as a load balancer is still redirecting as a round robin fashion? Because we have configured the simplest load balancer with the Nginx, right? We have not configured the Nginx load balancer as a advanced, right? In the coming lecture, we will see how we can configure the load balancer as a advanced load balancer. If you want to see, you are getting the logs over here as well. See, here is the curl log from the IP 226, which is the IP of my load balancer, right? If I will refresh this, and I will refresh this as well, right? I will hit the curl command again from my to my load balancer IP. I'm getting the Nginx page. The, the log should be present over here, and log is here, right? See, the curl 7.58 from the 226 machine, right? I will hit the curl again. This time I'm getting the brownie. So this time log will generate on the application page. See, over here I'm getting the log from curl 7.58 and the same IP. This is the IP of my load balancer, right? So this is the way how we can configure the load balancer with the help of the Nginx, right? So team, if you have any doubt, any question, please let me know. Thank you team. Thanks for your time.